Anyway, there's a bunch of lies and stuff. It's like how I built China or whatever. The Unit 731 hospital. That was my complex. Had a big cross or a big cross in the middle and then outlined in square. So it was like medical. So they wouldn't bomb them during the war because they were bombing people or things were being bombed. And so I didn't want them bombing my hospital. So I put a big cross and build a big thing around it or whatever, so people would know. It was like my main medical research facility or whatever. And then they tried to say it was researching disease and stuff, and it was also a mental hospital. And I had a jail nearby, the first modern jail. Anyway, somewhere in China. Anyway, I had paid for it, a lot of money, heck of a lot of money. Anyway, and it was researching mental illnesses and all kinds of stuff. Later on, it had a lot of gold or a lot of money or whatever. Nixon wanted it. Other people wanted it. They eventually broke in, killed a bunch of people, stole it. I found out about it, and like I said, it was my medical facility. And there was what's called a food packing plant down the way, and they poisoned a bunch of people and tried to poison the food packing plant. But I think they were using radiation or something like that, and it cleansed it before it could go through. But then they blamed the guy anyway. But we found out it was actually a guy that was a military officer that was actually with the guy, probably possibly Nixon or somebody like that, or Jimmy Carter or something. And they didn't know about the radiation, the rating of the food that had actually been done. I had actually put it on like two of my major food packing plants, and my food was actually not affected as much, or at least not affected. So, but they wanted to take me down or whatever. They started infecting rice with Black Plague, which is actually very interesting that Black Plague would be on rice. And they were trying to, I don't know, lodge complaints or whatever. Anyway, we tested every single plant in the field, and we found that there's like 30 plants that had Black Plague on them. And it's like, well, why do they have Black Plague on them? Or whatever. I don't really know. Like I say, it was just something that I had to deal with that was around there. It's like, why is there Black Plague on these plants in China? Anyway, so they went through and they found every single sample. Anyway, because like people died in this house or whatever. Possibly people that were actually working for me or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But basically they died in this house, or they were rich or something, so they poisoned them with Black Plague and gave them rice that had Black Plague on it or something. I don't really know. Anyway, like I say, in the old days, they used to use aircraft with pods on the bottom, so you could put medical people, and they could fly you around, because there's only like 3 or 4 or 5 different medical facilities in all the world back then. So they used to fly people to the medical facilities where they would get treated and then fly back. And I used to loan the aircraft for that. And then later on, with the food safe stuff, we had food safe trucks with radiation things inside of them, and they would radiate the food, and then for the low tech packing plants. And then later on, they built in the radiation thing from the trucks into the packing plants, so they would have clean, safe food. Because food, when you radiate it, I think it's better. It kills like 90% of the germs or whatever. It's really effective and was really a useful technology. And they started using it a lot, and that was basically my team, my people, my radiation thing. So, because I thought of it during Auschwitz, and they were testing it back then. Because I knew that radiation kills germs. It kills everything. It kills you, and certain people were saying, "Oh yeah, radiation, no problem," and all this other stuff. It's like, well, it can be a problem if there's enough of it, and it's like the particles or whatever. Anyway, though, and we were using it for food safe stuff and killing things like Black Plague and everything else like that. And eventually, me and Germany started stomping out all disease, basically. And some people were saying, disease is good, disease clears the problem. It's like, no, it doesn't. Disease is never good. So anyway, but then again, they were going around infecting a bunch of people, killed 500 million people, fed them infected food. So, that's saying what the Republicans did. And the Democrats, well, I mean, it's Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter, all of them. But then they were, nuclear bombs, and they were going to kill everyone anyway on the planet. So, because they knew eventually it would come out that they were liars or whatever, and basically just stole a bunch of White Star Line money my Titanic and everything else like that, and then tried to kill me and everyone else. And it's like, I don't even care anymore. I basically suggested and had directed and had the Renault factory and all the Renault money, and we were investing in other countries. We had all that money, and I invented the the mosquito, and all the different techniques for the shooting and stuff like that. They could put a mosquito knife edge and shoot through a window with the gun. They had a belly-mounted gun with a TV and everything, an LCD screen, a joystick or whatever, so they could aim the gun and fire it. And they could provide ground support with a mosquito aircraft. And even take out people. Anything in wartime, or taking out like people that if there was a war or something like that. And I always prepared myself, so Mosquito was a really good aircraft. And well, most of the bombing actually happened from South Africa, and mostly was like 15-year-old kids or 8-year-old kids that are directed by the psychopath to go bomb a city. And then later on, they ran in with their guys and basically just raped a bunch of women and killed a bunch of men. After the bombs fell. And they just did hit and run techniques. And it's just a bunch of men trying to spread their sperm around. Basically when a town wasn't ready for them. And the kids were shot down and died or whatever, but whoever didn't really care about them, the self-proclaimed God and King of Men, black person. So he was guilty for a lot of things, really. A lot more than just sticking it in the girls 3 times. And he would shoot people. And then they claimed it was Nazis or Germans, but it was actually him. He was running around, the King of Men. He would stick it in them 3 or 4 times, and I'd finish on the last one, and I would shoot 1 or 2 of them, he would say. He was a black guy, and basically self-proclaimed king and, like, general. He went around like general, and basically he picked up an AK-47 when he was 15 years old and started shooting people. Shot the German down the store, shot this person, shot the town magistrate. Shot his way to the top, or something like that. And basically, pretty much just went on a rampage. I should have been taken care of, would have been taken care of, but JFK was also doing the same thing. A bunch of people were just running around and killing people. Like, whatever. Pretending to be cops, pretending to be, they had no real power, and were basically just breaking the law. Police officer can break the law too. They were nothing more than just basically people in a military or army. That was it. And then later on, there's these other people that were going around shooting down jetliners for profit. They'd go and clean out all. They would check the flights and the financials of everyone that was going to take a flight, and then they would have a jet go up behind them, and then they would shoot them down, and they would crash, and then they would basically clean out all the bank accounts of everyone who had died. And then they would write checks or whatever saying, oh, yeah, they paid us. And they would just cash the checks before, the people are still grieving for the loss or whatever. They would just cash all the checks and steal all the money out of the bank accounts and then run away. Get cash and run away. And then split it like 8 ways or 16 ways or whatever, and basically live on it. Basically just clean out the people's safe money accounts or whatever. Killed like 800 people that way. But then again, they were doing that back in the old days. They would go through the bodies and get all the gold off the people. Until I put fire support on all my aircraft, and then they couldn't shoot them down so easily. So anyway, people have always been trying to steal and take things and kill people for it. Generally, it's like, people just figure life is about killing who you kill and how much you get from it. And it's just sad. Anyway. Then accident investigators would find them picking through the wreckage and even take fire from them. Trying to get all this stuff, or trying to remove the what's called the bullet shards or pieces of metal with bullet holes in them that showed that an aircraft had attacked them. This is paramilitary group.